Continuing on with the podcast or show, we have our first segment, which will be This Week in History, which we do. We're going to do this like every time, I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a really cool thing in history that we don't like.
Do we want to focus on?
Yeah. So we're going to do June 17th through June 23rd. We're recording this on June 18th. So this is yesterday, starting from yesterday. So we start on Sundays to go through Saturday.
Yeah.
So June 17th, 1885, the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York Harbor, which came from France as a gift. How nice of them.
Yeah. Vive la France.
Vive la France. And then 1775, we had the Battle of Bunker Hill begins. Because, the whites of their eyes.
That quote was not from that battle, but that was a good try.
Wasn't it?
No, that was either Lexington or Concord.
I'm pretty sure it was Bunker Hill.
I will bet you.
I'm not betting.
I will bet you the dinner we are about to have.
No, I'm not going to bet anything. I just look it up.
No,
double check it. I feel like Bunker Hill was the one.
I'm going to get to put 5 marks down when I'm correct on that one.
I don't know, dude. Yeah. I feel like I'm right on that.
I don't think so.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, 1994, O.J. Simpson leads an LA police on a low-speed chase, which was led up to the O.J. Simpson trials. 1972, Watergate burglars were arrested. What?
Sorry, I was just laughing. No, just laughing like the whole scenario surrounding Watergate and like what was going on there and like this whole like just botched plan.
It's a trap.
Basically, yeah.
An interesting one since we're Californians. 1579. I forgot the actual full name of this guy, but Drake claims California for England, but this was for Elizabeth I. So he sailed all the way to San Francisco, called it Nova Albion, I think.
Okay.
And it was around the San Francisco area, which is interesting, but it never. I don't think it ever.
Clearly didn't go too well.
Yeah, it didn't go too well. Run. Yeah. That was because of Spain. So today, which is June 18th, and then on June 18th, the War of 1812 begins. I remember having like a thing with someone. I was like, "When was the War of 1812?" I'm like, she was like, "I don't know." I was like, "Really?
How could this happen to me?"
I don't know. 1815, Napoleon's defeated at Waterloo, which is really surprising. But a couple of books I've read on Napoleon, they've not really covered Waterloo like extensively. They just talk about he lost, and then they moved on. Same at Corsica, basically. 1983, the first woman in space for Americans, Dr. Sally Ride. Which was actually 20 years after the Russians or Soviets did it, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast on the space race, and that's why I first heard it before I read it. June 19th, Rosenberg executed, or 1953, Rosenberg executed. I forgot the two names, but there was a couple that smuggled out the nuclear testing plans for like a nuclear bomb, basically, and then they were executed for the Soviet Unions. It kind of spawned like I think it kind of spawned all those like TV shows where like they had like
the American
cells in here in America that were Russian. 1856, the first Republican National Convention ended. So, are you a registered Republican?
I am a registered Republican.
I am too. So I guess that's history for us.
Yeah.
1867. Emperor of Mexico was executed. Who was he was actually an Austrian Archduke Ferdinand Maximilian, who was
he's a long way from home.
He was appointed by Napoleon III. So that happened, and then he eventually was executed after I think Juarez took over, and then basically had the Mexican independence, and then,
right, yeah.
Obviously, Cinco de Mayo was the day they declared independence, and then it led to that day where he was executed. Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately for him.
Yeah,
because he died.
June 20th, 1975. I thought that said Jews released. I'm sorry. I'm looking at a different stream. That looks like... I don't know. Sorry. I was like 1975. I was like, what? That didn't make any sense. But Jaws was released. Very iconic film.
Yes.
And then 1953, United States.
63.
Oh, 63?
Yeah.
Sorry. The United States and Soviet Union established the hotline because it was getting crazy at that time, all right? Let's just say we almost won. Bye-bye.
Could only mean one thing, that a nuke was coming.
June 21st, 1788, the U.S. Constitution was ratified. You get some dabs on that, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not 12. 1813, French were defeated in Spain.
Get good.
This is where I think initially Napoleon was a part of that conflict, but I think because of all the coalition going on, he sent his brother and then another commander he had. I forgot their names, and then they eventually lost. 1964, civil rights workers disappeared. That was the civil rights workers that were killed in Alabama, Mississippi, and their bodies were burned and stuff, which was unfortunate for them. But the two New Yorkers, and then I forgot where the other guy was from. I think he was from the area or something like that. 1982, Hickley. Okay. Hinckley. Not guilty by reason of insanity. That was the guy that shot Reagan.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the year before. I think 82 or I think it was mid 82 or 81, and then he got convicted of that in 82.
Okay.
June 22nd, 1944, FDR signs the GI Bill, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And 1945, Battle of Okinawa ends, which was a very, very draining battle.
As basically all of the battles were for the islands.
Yeah, for the Pacific.
Just because the Japanese did not surrender. There's all sorts of, if you look at the statistics from those battles, it's pretty interesting and kind of sad too, because the U.S. will win high casualties on both sides, but you'll see that there's 100 Japanese that survived, or 100 prisoners, and the rest of them died.
There's definitely some cases where it was down to single digits.
Yeah.
And I think even in there were some islands that were attached to the Philippines where guys were still there long after the war.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never actually.
They had to have the guys. They found out the guy's family and then had to bring his family, telling them hey yo,
the war's over.
So he was stuck there for years, which is insane how he was able to survive. But yeah, that was crazy.
Huh.
Yeah. 2001, the blockbuster hit movie Fast and Furious was released. I think
cancer began spreading.
It was one of the big those weird franchises that kind of started and spawned and made all this money. So, and you got a bunch of not iconic actors, but somewhat iconic actors.
Kind of, I would say at this point.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, so Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I forgot the Paul Walkers.
Now they got The Rock in there.
Yeah, they got The Rock. Jason Statham. Yeah.
Now it's the real party.
And then finally, 1937. I think it was Joe Louis. That's his first name, right?
Yeah.
Becomes champion. I think he was probably the first African American. I think that's what it said.
I think it was first heavyweight.
Yeah.
African American.
Yeah, in his division.
Yeah.
Which is big. And then there was something really interesting for June 23rd that I found. That was
what a boring day.
Yeah, it was a pretty boring day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was history, guys. Let us know what things we missed this week. If there's anything cool. If you have any cool things to add to what we said, go ahead and hit us up in those comments down below, or hit us up on Twitter, which has already popped up. But yeah, let's move on to our